Okay, here we are at the flying field. We're going to test out the KK2.0 board from Hobby King with the Open Arrow 2 beta 4 version beta 4 firmware. You can tell by the windsock it's pretty gusty. Look at this anemometer here. You see it's going up at least 12 miles per hour, fluctuating a little bit, going down a little bit. So we're going to do some test flying with and without the stabilization and auto leveling on. I'm going to point this camera down on my controls so you can keep an eye on how much input I'm using. It is pretty windy today, so I know I'm not going to be totally off the controls, but we'll see what we can do. It's very windy. This is without any stabilization or auto leveling. First, let's try to get it trimmed out a little bit. I realize this is going to be tough to do. Okay, this is just flying crazy. So this is without auto leveling or stabilization. Turn the throttle down some. Okay, this is just crazy. Okay, I need to turn on some stabilization. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is with stabilization on. Okay, stabilization is on. I'll turn a little bit to the side here, so I'm gonna a little bit of rudder in the opposite direction, counteract. Okay, need to counter some rudder. Bring it back towards me. I have a LiPo alarm on this thing that's beeping. It's just going off because I have a low capacity battery. Probably need to set the limit a little bit lower. Let's go ahead and turn on the auto leveling here. So I'm going to hit my throttle switch. Or actually it's my flap switch to turn on auto leveling. Okay, it's hands off there. Starting to turn a little bit to bring it back. I'm going to use some aileron to bring it back. I was kind of going crosswind. Now I'm going with the wind here. hands off right here. Flying pretty straight there. It's nothing, you know, it's getting away from me. I'm going to turn it back with my aileron. Okay. It's sort of into the headwind here. Use a little bit of aileron. Try to level it, so. Okay, now that is without any input. It's flying into the wind. And it's working pretty good, and you know, that's in the wind. I'm going to turn it back because it is pushing it a little bit to the side. Okay. So that right there is just with auto leveling and stabilization. Look, it's flying really straight. I think I'm going to take it in and bring it in for a landing and change the battery here. This right here is just a glide. This is a glide. Notice how straight it flies. It's pushing it around a little bit. Give it some throttle here and turn it. Bring it back towards me. Lead it into the wind here. This is without any input. Now I need a little rudder to bring it back. Let's try a landing here without much input. So a little bit of rudder there. A landing without any input. Okay, let's put a new battery in it and try this again. I think I'm going to try some takeoffs with the auto leveling and the stabilization on, and let's see how well that works. Okay, I have auto leveling and stabilization on already, so let's see how well we do with the takeoff. Wow, that was a pretty, I think the plane kind of dived on that. That was kind of scary. I don't know if my elevator trim got messed up or what. Let's see how level it flies here. Yeah, I definitely had to pull back from the elevator there. And I'm on a little hill here, so if I wasn't, that plane probably would have been into the ground. I think I want to try another takeoff and see how well it does. Okay, so you can see I'm not really using a lot of input, but I'm going to need more throttle because the plane is starting to go a little bit down. So I'm going to give it some more throttle, and then it's getting away from me, so I'm going to turn it with my rudder here. Nice thing about this is you can rely on the rudder for turning more, and it'll it'll try to level it back out for you with the ailerons. Okay, now it's really going up, so I'm going to decrease the throttle. And I'm just not touching it right now, but wind's starting to take it away, so I'm going to turn it, my rudder here. Okay, so no right stick input, just doing rudder right now. Try to straighten it out a little bit. It's not as straight as I would want, but keep in mind auto leveling doesn't touch your rudder. Auto leveling doesn't touch your rudder, it will just keep the plane level. So in high wind you're still going to get times where the plane gets pushed to one side or the other. I think the only way you're going to get a true heading is if you have a system that has a GPS in it. Then it can know which way it's heading and keep it steady at the heading. Turn a little bit. I have a Cyclops Storm OSD that I just got in. Supposedly it has something that can lock your heading for you. So I can't wait to try that out. Turn a little bit. It's definitely keeping it level. Doing a good job at that. But as I'm going up and down the field here, it's just the wind turning a little bit. You can see I'm not having to use any aileron or elevator, just using my rudder to turn. And I'm going to go ahead and land it here in a minute. Going with the wind here. Let's try some gliding. No throttle. Need some throttle here to get it back towards me though. Let's try. Need a little elevator here. Okay, I'm gonna let off the throttle and just try rudder here. Do another landing with just the glide, no throttle. Just a little rudder. Okay, that was a nice smooth landing. I like that. Okay, this is going to be flight number 3, and we're going to watch that takeoff and see if the plane dips down a lot on with the elevator on the takeoff. It could have been because I was throwing the plane a little bit too up at an angle, and it was trying to counter with some elevator down to get the plane level. So this time I'm going to try throwing it a little bit more level into the wind and see what that does. I did the same thing. Did the same thing on the takeoff. Nose down. I really had to pull back on the elevator. I think what I need to do is just take off the auto leveling on takeoff. Try that. The other thing I want to do here is I'm going to turn off the stability control and just leave on the auto leveling and see how well that works. See if that does the same thing. So I'm going to hit my gear switch here. Okay, decrease my throttle here. So this is just auto leveling, no stabilization. Getting a little bit more shaking. Yep, more shaking here. Yep, it's doing the job. Not as well though. I think those shakes, those little shakes kind of throw the plane off a little bit more and cause it to go turn. And then once you turn, it'll keep the plane level, but just not as much straight flight as what you can get with it on. So I'm going to turn this stabilization back on here. Okay, and I'm going to land it. I want to try another takeoff. better here. Nice gentle landing, I like that. Now the plane still went down. Might just be my plane, maybe it's a little bit nose heavy. Let's try that again. Let's try turning the stability control off. Bring it back in for a landing. Guys, you saw it again. Turn on my auto-leveling stability control. I think it might just be the extra weight I have on the front of the plane, the GoPro. And plus it's real windy. So I might want to put a little bit of trim in some elevator on my takeoffs. I hate that it's doing that. Now let's turn this stability and auto leveling off for a little bit just to see how well it's flying. See what the difference is. So this is with it off here. My nose does go down a little bit. This is just crazy. Look how jumpy it is. This is just unbelievable. It's not any fun. Let me turn on the auto leveling stability again. Perfect. Very docile in the wind. Very docile. Now this isn't automatically going to fly your plane, let me tell you that. You still are going to have to control it, and you still need inputs, but especially for a beginner, and even if you're just not a beginner and you want to go out and fly on a windy day like this, it's really going to help. Let's just glide for a little bit. I'm almost out of juice on my battery, so I think my plane is a little nose heavy because I got all this stuff on the front of the plane. And I adjusted my windsocket a little bit. Find that. I better land this thing. Overall, I like the performance of the KK2 board. I wish I had a day which wasn't as windy to show you what it was like flying in that, but that is just absolutely wonderful. Requires hardly any input, mostly just using some rudder to turn, you know, when you get out and start getting out of range. But this even shows you, in the really bad wind, this thing can really help. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe and like it, and see you next time.